there are three main features that we need to keep in mind. Number one is no any increment or interest over the original price that been bought by any house or any asset. And number two, an asset or the house must be owned by the buyer from the day one. And number three, and if the finance or the client become able to pay all the funds before it is fixed term, he shouldn't be or she shouldn't be penalized. These kind of Islamic features that actually separate interest, or conventional business than the Islamic and Sharia compliance. Where our the Islamic organization is Sharia client is stands about there. One of the points that I've seen right now, I personally tried to get the finance in our center, $3 million, and they said the name must be on our and in a company, and we're gonna have inside a separate paper that you're gonna have it that's yours, and in this case, we felt that that was not Sharia compliant point. So what's your answer in that area? How you gonna actually reconcile Sharia with this kind of security crime? Which I agree, there must be a security one.
Is it on?
Yes.
We are convinced that the client has ownership of the home because he or she can so dispose of that home as they wish, whether it's a resale, whether it's renting, if there's a mortgaging going on with another company. So we are convinced that in our product, that the client does have ownership. Number two, you said something about early payments. Based upon regulation, the industry doesn't allow early payments as it is. Of course, you have to negotiate that, but you cannot altogether waiver that. So we do have, I think it was 20% early payment per year, and that has, we know of clients who have paid off their homes within 2-3 years, so that is there as well. And what was the third? Yeah, could you repeat the?
Yeah, if the person, it's the 3 points actually. Maybe I say it again. In terms of putting adding interest.
Okay.
That you get it. But my point is, by any means, no increment at all from A to Z for the business in order to make it a non-interest business. And number two, the person who actually the own or the one who the buyer should own that place by his name and have a full authority by the time that he decides to sell it, to transfer it to another person, whatever the case may be. And the third point is, let us say the agreement was to pay in 10 years, and within 1 year that person able to pay all of it shouldn't be penalized because he paid in advance. These 3 points are the major features for the non-interest business or compliant Sharia, where these organizations stand about that, because through my experience, one of them that I approached it couldn't actually comply with these. So what's your response?
Well, I've answered the two, and the other one on the interest, as I've said earlier, the halal al-bay' wa haram riba. So our Islamic finance model is based upon business and not based upon interest transaction. Hence, the rent, for example, it is benchmarked as per the market rates, and based upon the contract that person signed within the amortization period, then he or she are subjected to that rate. And that's the payment that they pay, as the case may be. And one thing we'd like to add is that Financial was not able to secure this entire operation after several years of approaching several institutions, but because Credit Union does have a mandate to help the community and does have a faith-based experience, they were willing to research this product at their own expense, with their own personnel, and they came up and offered themselves to come through with this arrangement. And what's the arrangement basically is Sharia-based against Mudaraba, where UM Financial is seen as a trust partner, and they as the financier, and they share in a profit. Of course, the minimal goes to the guy who does the hardest work. So, and the financier, they make their most of it. And that's also, again, is based upon a profit shareability and not an interest, as if we are loaning the money. And that much I have.
Can I just on directly maybe
Yes.
Just give you 2 examples? I mean, but on directly trying to respond to your question. What's happening in Qatar, for instance, where I'm coming from? Qatar, as maybe some of you don't know, it's run on a conventional system, although you have Islamic and non-Islamic banks. The only country of which I know that's having a dual system, as per se dual system, is only Malaysia. Most of all the GCC countries are run on conventional systems. So what happens often the time is as I alluded to previously as well, is that well, the model on which we are functioning, or this institution are functioning, is relatively young, and is still being it's adapting to the realities of of the system in which they're evolving. And the example I want to bring you is the one of late payment fees. Qatar Islamic Bank has had this issue with their investors, where they would be clients of a conventional bank and an Islamic bank, and they would take loans, for instance, with both entities. And obviously, when they are hit with late fee payments on their loans on the conventional side, they pay it very quickly. Whereas on the Islamic side, they were not. So what the scholars came with, it's a fee that will be charged to them and then is being disposed to a charity organization. It's what I'm trying to say is that sometimes in environments which are not purely Sharia compliant or Islamic, you need to come up with alternatives in order to that are Sharia compliant, or trying to follow the spirit of Sharia, but which in some aspects you would not find it purely Sharia. I don't know if I'm clear on that, but.
Absolutely not clear. I appreciate your point, and that means it's not purely compliant with the Sharia. And that's acceptable.
I will not judge if it's purely Sharia. I think there's people more qualified than I am. But the only thing I want to point out is that I think our Sharia scholars have done a tremendous job having brought this industry from what it was maybe 30 or 40 years ago. And as I mentioned before, I think we are still in the development phase of that industry. And there will always be, but that's another subject. There will always be differences of opinion in terms of where you're coming from and which school of thought you're following as well in Islam. And actually, this is the beauty of it, because it keeps you going in terms of research as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your comment. I think you may have to continue the discussion off the session, and if you wouldn't mind, I know my friend from England has a question as well. If you wouldn't mind saving it for the next